In this video, I'm going to talk about 9 money habits to establish before retirement. Now, these are things that you may have already established in your life, and if you have, that's great. These are things that you'll definitely want to keep doing in retirement. Hi, I'm Camille Gaines, and here on my website, retirecertain.com, I write about and talk about investing and stumbling into early retirement way before it was popular and what I've learned on that experience. Okay, so let me dive right into things that you'll want to do before you're retired, or if you're already retired, things that you'll want to make sure that you're doing. And the very first thing is habitually spending less than your income. When we're in our working years, sometimes we just spend more than what we make. We can dip into our savings, we can save less that month, we can make that work easier. But once we stop working and we no longer have that steady income, then it becomes super important to make sure that we habitually have more income than we spend. Now, you'll notice I like to say we spend, not that we spend less, but we make more money than we spend, because I think that if we don't, then yes, it's smart to spend less, but there are all these different ways we can make more money, and the upside on that is unlimited. So that's sort of my focus around budgeting and the way that I approach that. But whatever it is, maybe that means that if your expenses are high and you weren't certain things, then you've just got to up your income in one way or another. And there are about a gazillion ways you can do that now with the internet. So check out some of my other videos on that topic. All right, so the very next thing is tracking expenses monthly. When you check your expenses monthly, it's easier to end expenses that are recurring before they keep going for a while. I know that when I don't do that, then they can add up over several months, and I don't want to request refunds. I don't like requesting refunds just because it's something that I didn't stay on top of. So check your expenses monthly and make sure that every place where your money is going out, I like to say those holes in our buckets, because there are more than ever now with all the different ways that we can send money and process payments. Make sure that you're checking all those different places every single month. The next money habit you'll want to establish before retirement is checking to see how much risk you have in your investments, from stocks and from bonds. I've done another entire video on how to know about how much risk you have from stocks. We can easily feel like there's no way for us to know that, and that can make us feel like we're victims of the stock market, assuming that we're stock investors if you're watching this. And when we estimate about how much risk we have, and there is absolutely a way that you can do this, I call it my stock drop factor, then you have a better handle on how much risk you have, and you can adjust it if you've got too much risk. And this is especially important in retirement if you're planning on living off retirement withdrawals like most retirees are, in addition to Social Security or any other income that you have. The next money habit you'll want to master before retirement is making sure that you're getting the best return that you can get from any amount of capital you have. It's easy to get lazy about investing. It's easy to have money sitting someplace, and maybe that's in a bank account that's earning extremely low interest when compared to even a money market account these days, where you can earn over 5% as of this recording. So it's easy to get lazy about that, but it's super important to make sure that the capital you have is used optimally to get the investment return that you need in order to be able to support yourself for life, especially in retirement. One other time that this happens is sometimes we end up with too much home equity when we've paid for our home and the home has increased in value, sometimes significantly over the years, and all of our net worth is sitting there in a home that maybe we no longer need, and that's when we can look at downsizing or making a move. So look at your net worth. I like to look at net worth statements, not just investments, so we can easily see our equity, our capital that we have. Is it optimally invested so that we can get the best investment return that we can get within our acceptable risk. And I think that this truly just becomes a habit. It becomes a way of being with our money. All of these things do, really. The next money habit to master before retirement is simply to pay the least amount of taxes that you can pay. There are tons of legitimate ways to save money on taxes. Get yourself a book about how to save money on taxes. You may even want to look at things like setting up entities and being really proactive with this. There are many investments that have favorable tax rates. There are ways you can structure your investments and or take money out of your retirement savings from certain accounts so that you avoid having to pay taxes. You don't want to kick yourself up into a higher tax rate if you don't need to. So there's a lot that can be done strategy-wise around this. So make it a habit to meet with your CPA and or do some research, watch some YouTube videos. There are some excellent YouTube videos that are done by CPAs that can help you become aware of ways that you can save money on your taxes in retirement and ways to strategize so that you can make this happen. The next money habit you'll want to get into before retirement is to track your net worth. I suggest that you do this quarterly. In my How to Retire course, I suggest that everyone think of this as a treasure chest. Think of their net worth statement as a treasure chest with all these assets in it. And whether that's your home equity or whether that's your stocks or your bonds or whatever it is that you have, think of it as a treasure chest and value that treasure chest and know what's in your treasure chest. If you had an actual treasure chest, you would keep that locked up and make sure that nobody got into it and stole your jewels in there. So think of it as a treasure chest. Think of your net worth as that treasure chest and update it frequently. I would say quarterly, so that you know if things start to change, if things shift. Sometimes things turn for the worse and sometimes things happen for the better, allowing you to make changes in what you had thought that you could have or rely on in retirement. The next money habit you'll want to get into before retirement is simply becoming a confident investor. Wow, this one is huge because I don't think most people are confident investors. I can safely say as a financial coach, most people are not confident investors. And a lot of that is just misinformation or lack of information or lack of interest or lack of spending time on learning how to invest so that you become a confident investor. And this is honestly just a habit. It's just a decision that this is going to be part of your life and that this is something that needs and warrants your attention. And it's becoming a confident investor. It's becoming that person. And it's a great habit to get into, especially before retirement. The next financial habit that you'll want to get into before retirement is to spend about a half an hour a week on what's going on in the world with regard to your money. When we know what's happening in the bigger picture, the macroeconomic situation that's playing out, then we can feel more confident about our investments. We can make better investment decisions. We can say, oh, this is happening, so I need to be aware of this because maybe I need to make a change, or maybe I just need to know about it so that I feel more confident. I feel more in control. I don't make emotional investing decisions, or I don't overspend or underspend or whatever it is. So when we know what's going on, we can feel better about our investments. And this isn't a lot of time. Half an hour a week, that's half a trip at the most to the grocery store, or that is the time it takes to shower and get dressed. This isn't a big amount of time, but this is for one of the biggest things in your life. So plan half an hour a week to spend updating yourself on what's happening in the business world, in the financial world more so. The way I stay up to date on what's happening in the financial world is just by reading Seeking Alpha's Wall Street Breakfast, and it just takes me a few minutes. So I'll put a link in the description in case you want to check that out. And I love doing that when I have my morning tea and then I know what's happening in the markets. You can also just read the weekend update of what happened during the week, but I like to know on a daily basis. It just takes me such a short amount of time. The ninth money habit that you'll want to get into before retirement is to schedule a date with your money. Make this happen every week, just like you would with your spouse or significant other person in your life. You spend time with them, show your money, you value it, and set up a regular time that you can implement any of these other 8 financial habits that you'll want to get into in retirement. So schedule that time on your calendar. It's probably harder to do when you're working, and in retirement it's going to be a lot easier because you've got tons of free time to do all of these things. But go ahead, get them established before you retire, and then you'll be ready to hit the ground running. And remember, retire certain.